Thanks to BetterHelp for supporting our podcast, Sincerely Fortune. For 10% off your first month, go to betterhelp.com/fortune. Start living a better life today. Welcome to another episode of Sincerely Fortune. It's Fortune, and I'm so happy to be talking to you guys today. On a brand new episode, I am joined by the woman who gave birth to me, the woman who's been admiring my curls on the head of my hair, the hair of my head.
I think that's better.
It's Ginger.
Hello, everybody. How are you? But I was just telling Fortune her hair is gorgeous today. The color, and you would not believe the curls. I just can't look at it enough.
You really love curly hair.
I love your curly hair.
Just mine?
Just yours.
She's always you guys have clearly seen my hair. It's insane. It's a giant ball of frizz sometimes, and there are curls, but I don't think that, I'm no hair model. We'll say that.
You should be.
But when I come home, my mom always, that's the one thing she always takes on and on about.
I think the shampoo companies are missing out. I think you need to be the face of the head of any of these
The face of the head?
Well, I was saying the face of a company, but like the head.
Okay.
Hair on the head
Oh,
of
man. You hear that? Who's the company? Garnier Fructis?
L'Oreal. Any of them.
Come on. Can you imagine? I'm getting out of the shower. You can't see anything because that's scandalous. But, I shake my hair dry. Like it's wet, and all of a sudden I shake it dry, and then it's just all those beautiful curls.
Oh, it's amazing.
Well, you hear that, you guys. If you know of a hair company looking for a big ball of frizz, tell them to hit me up.
A head full of curls.
Well, it's always a treat having you on the podcast, Mom.
Thank you. I love to be on.
Do you feel like you are, like when people ask you what you do for a living, obviously you're retired, but do you ever tell people that you're a professional podcaster?
Sometimes I say I'm a podcaster extraordinaire.
How
does that sound?
That's a good title. Did you ever think that you would be doing something like this? You're pretty regular.
No, I never imagined I would be doing this.
I wish you guys could see my mom. I'm with her. I'm in person. We taped this a little bit ago because when we get to be in person are rare treats. And so, of course, I have to put a microphone in front of her face because why hang out and not record it?
You need to get a podcast or two when we're together.
Yeah, it's what the people want. There's been a lot of interest in your love life.
Oh, well, I'm sorry if that's what you're interested in. There's not much there.
I think one of our most popular podcast episodes with you was the one where you did the sex Q&A.
Well, I can understand that.
You gave a lot of good advice.
Good, I sure did.
And then one of your suggestions, which Jax remembered just the other day and we laughed about it, is that you suggested women from time to time wear a sexy nightgown.
I did.
And we didn't know that such a thing existed.
Oh, boy, that's generational, isn't it? In my day, that was the epitome. If you put on a sexy nightgown, the sexier the better.
What? Because I think you said the nightgown was like if it was lacy.
Well, it had to be kind of revealing.
Oh, yeah.
So,
the boobs had to be showing.
Yeah, more or less.
I saw you with a nightgown on the other night.
Yeah, well.
Not sexy.
Well, I wasn't trying to be sexy.
It wasn't the right company, I guess.
That's right.
Sometimes Jax will say, should I put on a sexy nightgown for you? And we laugh.
And you're laughing at me.
Not at you. We appreciate
You're laughing with me.
We're laughing with you, of course, as always.
Of course.
Well, I hope people, now that the pandemic has, tapered off a little bit. Still getting through this. It's still here, obviously, but now people are going out and dating again. Because, I was talking to friends who didn't do anything. They were like just not dating, not talking to anybody, and now people are ready to get out there again.
Well, the first part sounded like my life.
Yeah.
Not dating, not talking to anybody. But, I'll get there too.
I think at some point we should do a podcast where I don't know, either people give you dating advice, like we have people leave a message, or we sign you up for like a online dating service.
Oh, we could do that.
Oh, really? You would do that?
I would do that.
Huh. Okay. But you would actually put the profile up online?
I would actually put a profile up.
Wow. Okay. Well, you guys heard it here first. At some point down the road, we're going to get Ginge a dating profile on one of those. You guys have to let us know what are they called? Websites?
Yeah.
Apps? Which one's the best one?
Yeah, weigh in on that, because now I did that maybe 20 years ago or something, but I hadn't been on a dating website in so long, I don't even know what's out there. Now, back in the day, eHarmony was one. Oh, my goodness. I was trying to think of the others, but there were a number of them, but now... I've seen something about seniors and singles.
That could be a good one for you.
Senior singles.
Yeah, senior singles.
Yeah, because I don't want, don't want anybody too young.
Yeah, you're not trying to be a cougar.
Definitely not.
Right.
A few years, but not that would make me a cougar.
Okay, so we need our listeners to weigh in on what website would be good for her, and maybe even help us with what she should put in her profile. Some of you guys that have been dating lately probably know, how to put your best foot forward. So we need advice on Ginger's picture and her bio. Do you put a bio? I don't know.
Yeah, you do.
Okay. And then likes and dislikes. Is there anything she should fudge? You know what I mean?
You do not fudge.
Come on, just a little bit.
No, because people are going to find you out, and then they wouldn't really like you because you'd fudge.
Well, you can fudge like some minor things, no?
Well, let me tell you, one time, do I have some stories. But I know one time on a dating site, now this was back 25 years ago, I guess, there was a man who had told me, he was so good looking, and he described himself as being smooth and cool, and I thought, well, that is so interesting. He's going to be too cool. And I met him, and he didn't look anything like he said he looked like, and he was boring, and he didn't like me any more than I liked him. But
good story.
I can tell you another story.
Please, go ahead.
Well, this is a real good story. One time, the guy turned out to be an Elvis impersonator.
Oh, that's pretty fun.
And he would call me and sing Elvis songs.
How did you not end up with this guy?
Well, it's amazing. He wanted to meet. So he said, let's meet in this hotel lobby in Charlotte. And I thought, well, that's okay. The lobby, that's okay.
Yeah, you got to meet in public.
But I met him, and I didn't know he was going to be dressed as Elvis, too.
Oh, my gosh.
He
was in the outfit?
He was in the Elvis outfit. And I was like, I am just so unlike that. I'm just not that cool.
Mom, that would have been amazing. Did you at least go on the date?
No.
You didn't even have a drink or
We
anything?
didn't have a date. We just met in the lobby and talked, but...
What do you mean? You didn't even go into the bar?
But no.
You literally just sat on two chairs.
Yes.
And talked.
And he actually called me after that, singing to me.
He liked you.
Are you lonely tonight, or whatever it is?
Are you lonely tonight? Does a heartbeat of
I love to hear him sing, but I just wasn't into that.
Ginger, thank you. Thank you very much.
And one more. I can tell you one more.
Wait, I'm not done with Elvis yet. Just hold on a second. So, while you were talking with him, did he continue to talk like Elvis while you were getting to know each other?
Yes.
Really? He was like, well, I was raised very poor in Memphis, Tennessee,
But then I built a big house.
and right now I'm taking care of business. He kept the facade going.
He did.
So you didn't even get to know, like, I don't know what his real name was, Randy or whatever.
Well, he told me his job was working on highways as an engineer on highways, and I think he was one of those people that you see standing with the highway signs.
Yep, like slow down.
Yeah, something like that.
Did he say, "Hey, slow down"? That was kind of a Cher / Elvis.
Well, that did sound like him.
Hey, slow down. Oh.
But that was a disappointment, and I had one other disappointment.
Wait, you can't just jump off of Elvis yet. So, how long did you talk for?
As short a time as possible.
But he clearly was interested in you. Was he asking you questions?
He wasn't any more interested in me than I was in
but
him.
He did a follow-up call?
Well, he did.
That shows some interest, or at least he thought you'd hire him for a birthday party.
Well, that's right. I couldn't get out of that hotel fast enough, though.
Wow. I can't believe he didn't even buy you a drink.
I mean,
that's a cheap Elvis. The real Elvis would have never done that. The real Elvis would have treated you like a lady and bought you a drink.
The real Elvis would have treated me like a princess.
That's right.
He
would.
Oh,
man, I'm just thinking about how much fun it would have been at, like, holidays to walk
He could have been your daddy.
I know. I could walk in and he's in his, like, jumpsuit.
It was
What's
a
going
jumpsuit.
on, little lady? Are you here to celebrate Christmas? I don't have a great Elvis impression, but you know.
Well, are you ready for me to go on to the next one? Fortune is staying on that.
But guys,
Elvis.
You have to be with me right now listening. That's how many people, that's bonkers. How many people do you know have been out with an Elvis impersonator who refused to get out of character?
Probably not many.
Okay, we'll move on, but that was a solid dating story.
Well, speaking of a drink, there was a guy that I met who said he was now he had a good voice. He had a radio voice. And he said he was an announcer on a radio station.
Ginger Flamester, would you like to go out on a date?
But let me tell you this. Think about it. You can be on radio and you can look like anything and nobody will know. Well, he was not attractive. And when I mean that, he just, not that I go particularly for looks, but he was most unattractive. And he didn't buy me a drink. I had to buy me a drink to get through that meeting.
Again, what's up with these fellas? I thought the men your age knew how to be chivalrous.
Remember, this was 25 years ago, so I was younger.
But still, you were still up there.
Yeah. Oh.
Enough that men should have known that they buy the lady a
that
drink.
I was a lady.
That's right. Even I know that.
So, this time I'm not. Now, I did date somebody one time and dated him for quite a while that I met online.
You met that one guy online, but you met another guy in the classifieds in the newspaper.
Well,
that's old school.
Our local newspaper, well, it wasn't then. Our local newspaper, in fact, in Charlotte, was running classifieds. I love you, classifieds. No, really.
Like
it was
man seeking
woman seeking man, etc., etc. And so...
no pictures in those papers either.
No. And I did see his and called the number, and it turned out that we dated for quite a while after that. But I never should have read that newspaper.
That's right. He was a turd.
Yeah, so... So what I'm telling you is my track record is not too good, but I could always try again since 25 years has gone by.
That's right.
Those same men surely are elsewhere now, or have found some partner, or have given up. I think a new breed of them would be in by now.
Well, I hope that Elvis is out there thinking about you and thinking about the missed opportunity, and that out of nowhere you'll get a phone call that says, "Are you lonesome tonight?"
Well, I do have one more story if you want to hear it, but it's not about dating.
Okay.
I had a couple girlfriends and I were all divorced, and we went to a party at the river, as you do. There was a man there that looked so old to us, and who knows how old he really was, because again, we were in our mid-40s, so I don't know how old he was to look old to us. But anyhow, we were standing there looking at the water, and he walked over to us. And remember, there were 3 of us there. And he looked over at us and said, "You two sure are pretty," talking to the other 2. And I looked at him and said, "Well, how about chopped liver?" And he didn't even get it. But I was so outdone to tell 3 women that 2 of you sure were pretty.
You should have just said thank you.
Well, he was looking at the other 2.
I've had that happen.
Oh, have
It's
you?
been a while. Now, I told my mom earlier tonight, she really missed the boat by not going lesbian.
She actually told me that.
I did.
And no offense to any lesbians out there. I think it's a great lifestyle if it's your lifestyle. It's just not mine.
Well, we were reminiscing about the time we went to P-Town, Provincetown, which my mom always refers to as a gay enclave.
Oh, it was so fun.
It was our first time going there. We were stopping in. We weren't there as our destination. It was a stop in on the way to another destination. And we were walking around, and my mom was blown away with all gay people everywhere. It was a real big fun party.
Well, it really was quite a while ago, because it was the first time I'd ever seen men walking around holding hands with each other. So that gives you an idea of how far back it must have been.
That's right. And she was just like, whoa.
And then something exciting happened. I went in a candy store. In fact,
not just a candy store, a fudge shop.
And Fortune actually went in with me, but it was really, really crowded. So she said, "I'm going to wait outside." Well, as she was waiting outside, some woman came up to me, a customer, and said, "What do you think about this fudge?" And I said, "Well, it really looks good. I can't wait to get some." And she kept on, and then I could tell she was flirting with me. I mean, there's no way not to know when somebody's flirting with you.
Yeah.
And so by the time I got my fudge and got outside, there was Fortune. And I told her, I said, "I just got hit on in the candy shop."
This is what you said. I'm sorry to interrupt.
Sure.
You said, "I just wanted to tell you that a woman just made eyes with me."
Did I say that?
Uh-huh. You said, "She just made eyes with me." And I said,
Tell them what you said.
I said, "Are you sure she wasn't checking out your fudge?"
So even that didn't work.
But she was flirting with you, and
oh, she did.
There you know, dealing with all these men being real poo-poo heads, and there you had a lovely woman.
But if
she would have treated you like a princess.
If I had to choose between a woman and a bag of fudge, I chose the fudge.
Mom.
No offense to anybody.
I'm so offended right now.
Well,
it leads us back to...
Get over it.
It leads us back to you can't choose to be gay. So.
Well, that's right. Even if that fudge hadn't looked as good as her, I still... nothing about me made me want her. I still wanted the fudge.
Well, I'm just saying, you could have had a pretty nice life. I'm sure Sheila or Linda or whatever, Patty, whoever it was, would have taken real good care of you.
Oh, thank you.
Y'all could have had yearly trips to P-Town where you get all the fudge you could ever want.
Gosh, the life that passed me by.
But that, you can't change who you are, Mom. That's
true.
That's the moral of the story.
I'm stuck with it. Stuck with being straight.
Well, everyone has their cross to bear.
That's true.
for another episode at some point, I'll get it together, and after the audience, the listeners weigh in on what is a good site for you and for people your age, and they weigh in on, what you should put on your profile, we will do a podcast where we make that profile together.
Yes.
Woo! So
I'm counting on all of you out there to come through for me.
That's right. And now for a quick break. Are there things in your life that interfere with your happiness or prevent you from achieving any of your goals? Well, BetterHelp will assess your needs and match you with your own licensed professional therapist. BetterHelp is more affordable than traditional offline counseling, and financial aid is available. BetterHelp is also available for clients worldwide. Anything you share is confidential. BetterHelp is convenient, professional, affordable. There are licensed professional counselors who specialize in all kinds of things: depression, stress, sleeping trauma, self-esteem. In fact, so many people have been using BetterHelp that they are recruiting additional counselors in all 50 states. Even though things are looking up, there's light at the end of the tunnel. There's so much trauma that's happened in the last year and a half, so much loss. So now is the best time to talk things out. If you're feeling down, if there's anything that you're trying to sort out, I highly recommend getting some sort of therapy. So join over 1 million people taking charge of their mental health. Get 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/fortune. That's better, HELP.com/fortune for 10% off your first month. And we're back. So when my mom and I get together, we do a lot of reminiscing, one of which was, of the fudge shop. I think you like fudge more than any dessert, don't you think?
Probably.
Yeah.
I mean, a good piece of lemon pie is great, but I'll tell you what, there's just something about fudge and all the different kinds of fudge and nuts in fudge, and I could just go on and on.
Well, we know you like nuts. That has been established.
That's enough.
Hey, you can't take the comedian.
That's right.
Out of the podcast. Well, so my mom and I were reminiscing because I'm working on a new stand-up set. As you guys know from Sweet and Salty, I talked a lot about my childhood and growing up. So I always like to do some of those throwback stories. I wanted you guys to weigh in on, or at least be a part of this discussion as I try to figure out what stories are going to be, potential stories that I cover in my stand-up. So I was going to run some of these by my mom and you guys to see what you think. Are you okay? What are you looking at?
I'm okay. I was just looking at the keyboard.
Yeah.
On the laptop.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if anybody has ever noticed, but O, W, and E, the word O, are right lined up together on the keyboard.
That is so weird. The O's not anywhere near the W and the E. It's on the same.
What's that?
That's a Q.
Oh, I'm sorry. It was a Q.
Oh, boy.
Well, I was leaning over. I didn't see it.
Well, I love that she was totally enthralled by this, what she thought was a revelation.
And turned out not to be.
Turned out not to be. Okay, so if you're looking at your keyboard, the Q is beside the W and the E, not the O.
But W-E makes a word.
It does indeed. We like that. So, with Sweet and Salty, people really loved the swim story, which was a very true story of how I stunk on the swim team and basically ran the length of the pool. Do you actually remember me running the length of the pool?
I remember it as if it were yesterday. In my mind, I can see the replay of that just as if I were watching a movie. And she did. She ran the length of the pool. I happened to be standing by a man whose son swam, and then my son Jay swam against his son, and they were competitors. So this man turned to me and said, well, you can't expect all of them to be good swimmers. Oh, no, he said, you can't expect all of them to be athletes.
So
offensive. Meaning my 3 children. And I thought, wait a minute, because Fortune was really good at sports. She just wasn't a swimmer.
I was awesome at tennis, and softball and basketball and soccer, just not
swimming. And he thought because she couldn't swim, she wasn't an athlete.
I was thinking about that. We used to go to the pool every summer. There was a pool in town. And, I mean, those were different times because y'all would just drop us off at the pool.
Well, there were lifeguards.
And the lifeguards were supposed to be our babysitters.
But I know I didn't drop you off when you were little.
Well, not little, but like...
You were
not like 10,
bigger.
like 10.
Or 10. I think once you got to be 10 or 11, you could be dropped off, but not before.
That's some pretty good babysitting right there for free. Join the pool for the summer. Just drop your kid off.
Well, I went too, but...
You were too busy going on dates with Elvis.
Oh, gosh.
Well, I was thinking about some other things that happened to me, and I don't know if you remember any of these things happening. And maybe you can help me turn them into a stand-up joke, or at least tell me if it's worth being a stand-up joke. I mean, these aren't actual stand-up jokes. This is just the start of a story.
Yes.
Do you remember the time that I was in the Girl Scouts? I did talk about the Girl Scouts in Sweet and Salty
selling cookies and
eating
cookies.
When my very first Girl Scout group, I was in the... What are they? Daisies?
Daisies. Mm-hmm.
That means you're 5 years old, 5 or 6.
And I was one of the 2 leaders.
She was one of the 2 leaders. I don't have a lot of memories from that time, except for one. There was an outing that we took as a Girl Scout troop. Mind you, again, we're 5 years old. Some are 6. And my mom and the other troop leader decided that they were going to take us to a haunted house as an excursion. My dad went along with us, and so did my brother as chaperones. And we went to this haunted house. I don't remember much except for screaming and crying. And every single Girl Scout in this troop was wailing because we were in a room where it was supposed to be like a medical room. And there were chainsaws, freaking chainsaws. And we cried so hard and screamed so loud that they finally had to turn the lights on of this haunted house because, there were like 12 of us. We were literally climbing on my dad and my brother. And they had to be like, girls, look, it's not real. And we were having none of it.
That's right. You screamed just as much after they turned on the lights as before.
Why? Okay. I if we've talked about this before on the podcast, forgive us. I don't remember. But why did you guys do that?
Well, actually, I had seen in the newspaper that there would be a family-friendly haunted house. And the other leader and I thought, what is better than a family-friendly haunted house? So we
What would
decided,
that even mean? Just like someone going, boo.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so we thought we can take these girls.
They didn't have like an age limit?
No, it was family-friendly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So these people were going to scare the bejesus out of you and not cuss.
Well, we didn't know they were going to do that, and we took the troop, our Daisy troop, to this haunted house, and it was horrible. I mean, it was a really scary haunted house.
Oh, I'm scarred for life.
And they really did. Those girls climbed all of us.
Can you imagine?
It was awful.
Can you imagine me and the other people trying to enjoy your night at a haunted house and there's 12 5-year-olds screaming bloody murder?
Well, the
entire
other
time?
leader and I were just scared that we were going to be fired. These were volunteer jobs. And we were scared that we were going to be fired from volunteer jobs. And we thought, how embarrassing.
Did any moms complain?
We weren't. No, we never had any complaints.
Yeah, I think y'all took us for ice cream afterwards, which must have been the only way to get us to
It must have
forget.
Frozen your brain so you didn't remember.
The last thing I remember walking out, because we cried so much that we were depleted. You know, where you cry, you can't cry anymore. You're just sort of slowly walking out. And I just remember a witch, a green witch with a giant gonging as people walked out. And I tell you, I had nightmares about a green witch for the next, probably still do. I mean, whoa.
Whoa is the word. I tell you, it was an experience, and we never did that again. In fact, I think that was our last year of being Daisy leaders.
Because we moved up to Brownies.
Thank goodness. And we didn't move up. We just let somebody else be leaders.
You said maybe we'll step aside and let somebody else take over.
Yes.
Mm.
And then there was some scout executive that would come visit the troop, and we were always so scared when she came that she was going to tell us we were doing something wrong. And I mean, Fortune was in there, and the other leader's daughter was in there. I mean, we knew how to be leaders, but somehow it just didn't gel for us.
Mm-hmm.
But we got through. The girls seemed happy.
Yeah, we just needed a little bit of therapy afterwards.
Oh, just a little bit.
It was a great time. Great time. Well, I'll work on that.
Thank you.
I think there's something to that. There's got to be a stand-up story
Somewhere.
in there. Somewhere. But that definitely stuck with me. Another one I was thinking about was at school. A lot of things happened at school where back then you brought your own snack. You would have PE and snack at the same time. And it was, I don't know, at 11 o'clock every day. And you would go outside and eat your snack and run around and whatnot. There was a time period where y'all were forgetting to send me with a snack. So I would either barter with, somebody in class. By barter, I mean, I would be like, hey, can I eat your Ritz crackers? Because she was real skinny and her mom
So it wasn't a trade.
It wasn't a trade. She didn't get much out of it. She would get, because her mom would send her 4 snacks.
And she didn't need 4 snacks.
She didn't need 4 snacks. And finally, this was going on for a while where she would give me the Ritz crackers every day. Somebody else would get the fruit roll up. Somebody else would get the I don't know what, goldfish or something. And then the teacher caught on to this and put the smack down and said, stop giving your snacks away. And I was real pissed at the teacher because she was messing up. I had a real good snack ring going.
Sounds like it.
So it's PE. I don't have a snack. I'm hungry. You remember, I mean, I love food now, but I was relentless when it came to
Yeah, she
food.
really was.
So I'm, doing the RoboCop, looking around, scanning everything, and I spot on the ground a Ziploc bag of just Ritz crackers, plain Ritz crackers, not with peanut butter, just the plain crackers. And for a weird snack, but desperate times call for desperate measures. And so I reached down because they were by themselves, and I'm probably about 10 years old, 11 years old, something like that.
Which would be old enough to know better, but obviously not.
Obviously not. I wasn't thinking straight. I take a handful of these crackers, I pop them in my mouth, and then around about the same time, I'm so happy. I'm like, oh, I got some snacks. Booyah. The teacher yells out, everybody. I don't remember the girl's name. Megan, or who has lost her crackers. Has anyone seen Megan's crackers? And everyone's like, no. And I'm sitting there with a chipmunk's cheeks full of Ritz crackers. And they're crackers, and I don't have water, so I'm spitting crackers literally out of my mouth going, has anyone seen Megan's crackers? Where are Megan's crackers? And Megan's starting to get upset, and so I feel bad. I hadn't eaten all the crackers. Just a handful. So I am panicking, what do I do? So I decide that I'm going to also play the hero of the day. So I go up and I found the crackers. And I had crumbs on my shirt.
Was Megan happy?
I don't remember. I mean, the teacher had to have known that I was the culprit, don't you think?
Well, I just wonder what happened that you weren't taking snacks from home.
I wonder that too. Every now and then, you or Dad would randomly hand me a Lunchable, and that was
snacks?
That was exciting. I don't know if it was a snack or if it was for my lunch. I'm sure I use it as my snack.
Snackable.
So what do you think about that one?
I think it's pretty funny.
Yeah.
I could just see those crackers, your cheeks, and those crackers coming out of your mouth, and you couldn't talk.
I was a mess back then. I was a real mess. I never brushed my hair. I mean, I still don't really. And I got to school once and found a brush in my hair. What did y'all do to me?
I don't know.
And listen, I had a problem. I was a chunky kid, and I used to make my dad take me to McDonald's every morning for breakfast in 6th grade.
Well, it's not only that, but she had him, when you left our driveway, if you turned left, McDonald's was in the next block. So she had him turn right and go around the corner so I wouldn't know they were going to McDonald's.
Hell yeah.
Because she had already had breakfast at home. And then
I probably knew I wasn't going to have a snack that day.
And then after school, she would have her Nana take her to Bojangles
Yep.
to eat a snack
That's
at Bojangles.
called third meal.
And that was not supper. That was a snack.
That was a 3:30 snack.
Wow.
I would babysit because, back in the 80s and 90s, they used to let like 12-year-olds babysit kids, which is literally insane. Do you remember this? I was babysitting kids at 12 years old.
I remember.
And I was terrified. I mean, I needed a babysitter, and I was babysitting kids. No one would ever do that now, but it was so common back then. I was babysitting every kid in the neighborhood who was like 2 years old, and I was 12, and I would call Nana and have her make me some hot dogs, and she would bring two hot dogs over.
I really didn't know that.
You didn't?
No.
Oh man, I have a problem. Yeah.
Wow.
It just was I was an addict, but with food.
But she's over that now.
Yeah, I really turned a corner.
Yes, she did.
But I like I talked about in Sweet and Salty, when I was getting so big, you guys were trying to keep me active, and I did the swim team. We know how that went. Another thing I did was I took skating lessons. Do you remember this?
Yes.
Yeah, so there was a skating rink. Every town, if it's a good town, has one, and that's where you go, and they would have skating lessons, and I decided to go to my skating lessons wearing a karate outfit. Now, I'll tell you this. Was I also taking karate lessons? Nope.
And they were actually pajamas that we had bought, little white pajamas with black trim.
And a yellow belt.
And a yellow belt, and it looked like a karate outfit.
And y'all would let me go skating that.
Well, you looked so cute.
Do you remember how I was as a skater?
About like you were as a swimmer.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible. I would run into the wall constantly. And they would do a race. Do you remember where you would speed race as fast as you could?
I remember speed races.
And I don't know what it was about pizza back then, but it was used as a way to really influence people. And if you won those races, you would get a piece of pizza. I skated harder than I've ever skated before in my life, but I still was like always last place. I don't have any other jokes about that other than I think I was a pretty weird kid.
No, you weren't weird. You were just
also
possessed by food for a while.
But also, we come from an interesting family because we didn't always march to the same beat of the drum everyone else. My mom, as an outing for my friends and I, probably because I love food, won a trip to the Frito-Lay factory.
Lance, I think.
Oh, no, it was Frito-Lay.
Oh, was it Frito-Lay?
Frito-Lay.
Okay, Frito-Lay, wow.
How did you even get that?
I won it on the radio.
That's back when, they were like the 8th caller. And it was
type thing.
So it included like a tour of the Frito-Lay factory for like 6 people.
And it was incredible. When we left, they gave each girl a box of Frito-Lay products.
So here, I think I was about 14.
Oh, no.
12?
Probably 10. I would think.
Maybe 12. I wasn't as young as 10 because one of my friends mooned somebody on the way there.
She did.
So I don't think a 10-year-old would do that. We were probably 13.
Surely a 13-year-old wouldn't.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
13, 14. That had to have been an interesting invitation to get, to be like, oh, your friend has invited you to the Frito-Lay factory.
And of course it was the Feemsters.
We loved it though, because you got to see the chips get made, and then you got to eat the hot chips when they came out of the oven. So there were like sun chips there, and we were like shoving our mouths full of hot sun chips.
And the best part of it is each girl got a box of products, but I did too. So the Feemsters got 2 boxes.
You guys have to understand, this is why I'm a comedian. Because we always had weird stuff going on. My grandma would send me to T-ball with lemon juice in my hair. Do you remember that?
I remember that. Mm-hmm.
Because I was born with really, really blonde hair. And as I was getting, I was only 7 at the time if I was playing T-ball. My hair started turning a little darker. So my grandmother would squeeze lemon juice in my hair because she knew that I was going to be out in the sun and it brings out the blonde. Well, what she didn't account for was that you also sweat. And I had lemon juice and sweat rolling into my eyes. And I was trying to play T-ball while my eyes were burning. Ugh. And she used to give us enemas all the time.
Oh, thank you for adding that. That's not me. That was my mother.
She had this book of remedies, like home remedies, and somehow it always ended up with her giving us an enema. If you had a stomach ache, she'd give you an enema. If you had a headache, that's why I said in my half-hour special, I didn't want to tell her I was gay.
I can see that.
I can solve it.
But what Fortune didn't add was, with all the talk of food, we did actually send her to a nutrition class in Charlotte. Do you remember that?
I sure do.
Yes, and so we sent her so she would know how to eat properly.
Some people would call it fat class.
We did call it fat class, I think.
It's where a bunch of kids that are, overeaters are shown like what a bag of fat is the equivalent of. And you're like, that's not great. And they're like, and they show you how much sugar's in a soft drink. And you're like, I still love Coke.
And in the 30 minutes it took us to get from our town to Charlotte, I am sure Fortune wanted to stop going over and going back, but I don't think we did. I think we usually went straight without stopping somewhere since we'd been to nutrition class.
Yeah, we were getting shamed into...
I think so.
They were big into counting fat grams back then.
Yeah.
They were like, how many fat grams does that candy bar have?
Oh, and speaking of food, one thing that makes me think is... One thing Fortune and I always did was go to the Southern Women's Show in Charlotte every September. And I know one particular year, I thought I looked so good that day that we were going. I really looked cute. So there was a little hamburger place had opened. And Fortune and I were going to stop by and get a hamburger on our way to the Southern Women's Show. And when we pulled into it, the way their drive-in went is the driver wasn't beside the order window. The passenger was, which was so backwards. But anyhow, so Fortune rolled down her window and we ordered. And the lady working the window looked over at me and looked at Fortune and said to Fortune, "Oh, I see you and your grandmama are going out." And I was so outdone because it was a good day for me. I mean, I was looking, as good as I could.
Like a snack.
About as good as I could.
That might have been the same Southern Women's Show where we stalked Richard Simmons.
Oh, we met Richard Simmons. Oh, it was so much fun. And we just had a friend was with us, and we just were all about Richard. We got his
We
autograph.
literally stalked him. We took pictures with him. My mom was squealing. You know, the ladies of my mom's age were obsessed with Richard Simmons. They
Oh,
were
it
all
was so
Everyone was
much fun.
crying. Ladies were fainting.
Well, we were laughing and crying at the same time. I mean, it was like,
Oh, he was a rock star to them.
oh,
So.
he was. And I remember getting a picture made with, it was, what do you call it when you get behind somebody in a
A
picture?
selfie?
No.
Oh, photo bomb.
A photo bomb. And it's before people talked about photo bombs. And one time I got a photo bomb with Richard, which would have been the only way I would have gotten a picture. And for Christmas that year, one of my sons framed the picture, had it enlarged and framed, and wrote on it, "You can do it, Ginger," and signed Richard's name.
Well, there you have it, folks. The inventor of the photo bomb.
Yes.
Ginger Feimster. You can
It
do
was so
it.
much fun.
Well, those are some fun stories that I'll have to reminisce about and see if I can turn them into any sort of a stand-up treat.
And if you don't think they're funny enough, we'll come up with some more.
Well, that's how stand-up works, for me at least, because, you know, most of my stand-up is just storytelling. So I take the swim team story literally started from me going at a show one day. It was a show in Charlotte. I said, oh my God, I used to be on the swim team. I stunk. I was so bad I used to run the length of the pool. And that was it. That was the story. And the whole point is you build on it. And you try to remember details that happen. You add some of your own. And then eventually it becomes this really fun story. So hopefully you guys have experienced the germ of a story.
That's right. The seed.
The seed that will eventually turn into a flower.
And, you know, I found out that to be true when I've heard Fortune stand-ups. I mean, I am like, oh, yeah. And I think of, you know, the real story and how it evolved. And that's what she's telling at the time, just making it funny. But, you know, for us, things were funny anyway. We thought everything was funny. But, you know, they can be funny if you tell them right. And if they, you know, they can blossom and it's cool.
It's cool, Mom. Well, it was fun reminiscing with you about all these things.
I enjoyed it. Thank you for having me.
We hope you guys were entertained by our just being silly today. Sometimes you just want to be silly.
And thank you for listening.
Check out my tour dates. I have a whole list of places I'm coming. It's on my website, fortunefeimster.com. You guys are the best. We appreciate you tuning in every week to Sincerely Fortune. We hope it's getting you through your day and your week. And we appreciate you. And we'll see you next week.
Yes, we do. Bye-bye.
Bye.